The 15 children of George III and Queen Charlotte. George III, famously known for presiding over England's loss of its American colonies and his later descent into mental instability, had an equally remarkable legacy through his marriage to Princess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, which resulted in a brood of 15 children. And let me tell you, their lives were anything but ordinary. Shortly after tying the knot, King George III and Queen Charlotte joyfully welcomed their firstborn into the world. They named him George, following the family tradition. Little did they know that this child would eventually assume the throne, long before his father's passing. By 1811, George III's bouts of mental instability, once sporadic, had become alarmingly frequent. His eldest son, then known as the Prince of Wales, took on the role of regent, ruling in his father's stead for the next decade. Now this Prince of Wales, George IV, was quite the character. Fondly nicknamed Prinny, he had a taste for fashion, indulgent cuisine, the company of women, and a good old glass of alcohol. He also had a knack for spending money, leading to a lavish lifestyle. It wasn't until he had lived with a mistress for most of his adult life and fathered numerous illegitimate children that he finally agreed to a marriage of convenience, solely to secure Parliament's financial assistance in settling his colossal debts. Sadly, George IV and Princess Caroline of Brunswick despised each other from the moment that they said "I do." Their wedding night resulted in their only child, and they lived separate lives thereafter. George IV breathed his last in 1830, leaving behind a rather colourful legacy. Now let's turn our attention to Prince Frederick, Duke of York and Albany, George III's second son. You may recognise the title Duke of York since it's the same one held by Prince Andrew today. But unlike his modern counterpart, Prince Frederick faced a scandal of his own. In 1809, he was stripped of his prestigious position as Commander-in-Chief of the British Army, when it was discovered that his mistress was selling military commissions. Essentially, people were paying her to secure promotions for them. Though Frederick's involvement remained unclear, Parliament officially absolved him of any wrongdoing. With George's lack of effort in bolstering the line of succession through legitimate offspring, all hopes rested on George's only rightful child, Princess Charlotte. Tragically, when she died in childbirth in 1817, Frederick became his brother's heir. However, fate had other plans, as Frederick failed to outlive George, passing away in 1827. Due to his disdain for his wife, Princess Frederica Charlotte of Prussia, Frederick had no children of his own, and their marriage quickly led to separate lives. So you see, the lives of George III and Queen Charlotte's children were filled with intrigues, scandals, and unexpected twists, each leaving their mark on the pages of history. Prince William, Duke of Clarence and St Andrews, had always seemed destined to stay far from the throne. However, his brothers' disdain for their wives and the lack of legitimate heirs changed the course of his life. When both his older brothers and his niece passed away before him, William found himself unexpectedly ascending to the throne in 1830. Being considered more of a spare in the line of succession granted him a certain degree of freedom. And at the tender age of 13, he embarked on a journey with the Royal Navy, sailing across the globe and even participating in the American Revolution. After retiring from the Navy in 1791, William returned to England and settled down with a mistress. 2 decades later, he left her and her 10 illegitimate children to marry Princess Adelaide of Saxe-Meiningen. Despite their hopes, none of their 4 pregnancies resulted in children who lived longer than 3 months. Thus, when William passed away in 1837, his niece, Queen Victoria, took the throne. In 1766, after the birth of 3 sons, George III and Queen Charlotte finally welcomed a daughter into the world, whom they fittingly named Charlotte after her mother. Unofficially bestowed with the title Princess Royal from birth, it became official when she reached her 20s. George III was determined to provide her with an education, cultivating her linguistic skills and spending ample time with her. However, his deep affection for Charlotte and subsequently his other daughters would inadvertently work against them. The Royal Collection Trust reveals that George vehemently opposed their marriages, having witnessed the disastrous unions of his own sisters and wishing to spare his daughters from becoming scorned and unloved wives. Finally, at the age of 31, the unmarried Charlotte found her match in the widowed Prince Frederick of Württemberg, becoming the first of George III's daughters to marry. Regrettably, they did not have any children of their own. Moving on to Edward, Duke of Kent and Strathearn, we trace his connection to the House of Hanover, named after his German electorate where George I originated before ascending to the British throne in 1714. Ich liebe Deutschland, he would often say, yes, I know you love Germany. Some might argue that, as an English king, you spend a bit too much time there. Pardon? Nothing. In fact, George III was even crowned King of Hanover in 1814, though he never set foot in the country. However, some of his children did, including Prince Edward. At the age of 18, Edward ventured to Hanover to enlisted as a cadet in the Hanoverian Foot Guards. The following year, he returned to England and joined the British Army. Unfortunately, his absence without leave and harsh disciplinary measures led to his exile to Canada as a form of punishment in 1791. Edward, despite his royal status, held surprisingly progressive views for his time. He openly denounced slavery, advocated for the rights of Catholics to practice their faith freely, and believed that the American colonies should have the freedom to govern themselves if they so desired. These notions were considered radical during his era. In 1818, he entered into a marriage, and together with his wife, they became the parents of the future Queen Victoria. Sadly, Edward passed away in 1820, when Victoria was just a baby. When Princess Augusta Sophia was born, George III was delighted to have another daughter. However, his excitement waned when their fifth child turned out to be a boy. Nevertheless, Princess Augusta Sophia proved to be a remarkable individual. Like her elder sister, she received a thorough education, although she had a mischievous side that made her tutors struggle. In fact, she once wrote an apology letter for her own behaviour, sealing it with her own blood. Augusta's beauty caught the attention of many suitors who were deemed suitable to marry a princess. However, any potential marriage proposals had to be approved by her father, and he never granted his consent. Unlike her sister, Augusta remained unmarried throughout her life, although there are indications of a secret relationship with an army general. She passed away in 1840 at the age of 71. Of all of the daughters of George III and Queen Charlotte, Elizabeth, born in 1770, was not regarded as the most attractive. She faced constant reminders of this fact. However, she possessed a strong-willed personality. Princess Elizabeth displayed remarkable artistic talent and found various outlets to express her creativity. She gifted crafted paper cutouts to her friends, designed decorative panels for royal residences, and even published 2 series of engravings. Elizabeth, like her sister, faced the king's opposition to their marriages. However, in 1818, 2 years prior to their father's death, when his mental health had deteriorated, her brother, the Prince Regent, granted Elizabeth, then 48 years old, permission to marry Prince Frederick of Hesse-Homburg. In contrast to England, where the gender of the monarch did not dictate succession, the Kingdom of Hanover had laws stipulating that only males could ascend the throne. Consequently, when William IV passed away in 1837, Queen Victoria could not assume the Germanic throne alongside her English crown. As a result, Prince Ernest Augustus, Duke of Cumberland, the last surviving older brother, inherited the Hanoverian crown and relocated there. He was widely despised in England, earning the title of the most hated man in the country. In fact, there were rumours circulating that he had murdered his valet and committed a heinous crime against one of his sisters. While solid proof is lacking, these accusations hold significant credibility, The life of Prince Augustus was marked by controversy and daring acts. In 1810, an attempt was made on his life, which comes as no surprise given his audacious nature. Moreover, from 1818 to 1829, he chose to leave England, spending an entire decade away. Eventually, he passed away in 1851, leaving behind a legacy of intrigue. Prince Augustus held progressive views, openly advocating for the abolition of slavery and going even further by supporting the rights of Jewish people. He spoke in favour of lifting legal restrictions imposed on the Jewish community in England and became the patron of a hospital dedicated to assisting Jewish children. His commitment to religious tolerance and justice was admirable. Being well educated and possessing an extensive library, Prince Augustus had a keen interest in science and theology. In fact, his passion for theology was so strong that he contemplated becoming ordained, showcasing the deep spiritual connection. The Duke's love life was unconventional as he defied royal protocol by marrying twice without seeking the monarch's permission. These unions were deemed illegal for a member of the royal family, a fact that Augustus was well aware of. Although his first marriage ended in annulment, his second marriage in 1831 endured until his demise in 1843. Queen Victoria, despite never truly knowing her father due to his untimely death during her infancy, found a father figure in Prince Augustus. They shared a close bond, and he even had the honour of giving her away at the wedding to Prince Albert, assuming a fatherly role in her life. Prince Adolphus, regarded as the favoured son, was sent to Hanover at the young age of 12. He received education there and joined the Hanoverian military at 16. Participating in battles against post-revolutionary France, he displayed bravery and resilience. During one confrontation in 1793, he sustained injuries, was captured and eventually rescued, proving his mettle on the battlefield. Princess Mary assumed the role of caregiver within the family, dedicating her life to nursing sick or injured relatives, including her younger sister Princess Amelia and her father during his periods of mental instability. At the age of 40, she finally married her cousin, Princess William Frederick, Duke of Gloucester and Edinburgh, in 1816. Unfortunately, he proved to be a neglectful husband, frequently abandoning her for extended periods of time. Following his passing, Mary seemed to find her own joy in life until her own demise in 1857. Princess Sophia, serving as Queen Charlotte's companion, had a more sheltered upbringing compared to her sisters. Remaining unmarried, she was enshrouded in speculation and evidence suggesting that she may have experienced an unwanted pregnancy around 1800, potentially as a result of an assault by her own brother, Prince Ernest Augustus. The details surrounding this incident remain uncertain, fueling speculation of a possible illegitimate secret child. It is said that the alleged father was a servant employed by her father, but rumours persist regarding Prince Ernest Augustus' acts of assault, and Sophia being the survivor of his aggression. These rumours further fuel speculation about the potential existence of an illegitimate child resulting from such a horrific event. Sophia and Prince Augustus Frederick departed from the norm in death as they did in life. Instead of being buried alongside their family, they found their final resting place in the public Kensal Green Cemetery in London, a rather unconventional choice. Their desire for a different resting place adds an intriguing twist to their stories. Sophia passed away in 1848, leaving behind a legacy of mystery and speculation. Tragedy struck the royal family when Prince Octavius and Prince Alfred, born just 19 months apart, tragically succumbed to the same cause only 8 months apart. During a time when smallpox posed a significant threat, Queen Charlotte insisted on inoculating her children. However, inoculations carried their own risks, and sadly Alfred, who had a pre-existing heart defect, did not survive the procedure, dying just a month shy of his 2nd birthday. The following year, both Octavius and Sophia received inoculations against smallpox, While Sophia experienced no complications, Octavius fell ill and passed away within days, at the tender age of 4. The grief-stricken royal family sought solace in commissioning a painting that depicted Alfred welcoming Octavius into the embrace of heaven. The king, in a poignant gesture, hung the artwork in his dressing room at Windsor Castle, a poignant reminder of the loss that they had endured. Princess Amelia, the youngest and 15th child of George III and Queen Charlotte, entered the world after the tragic deaths of her brothers, Octavius and Alfred. This age gap meant that she was over 5 years younger than her closest sibling, Princess Sophia. Amelia's life took a fateful turn. At the age of 15, she began showing symptoms of tuberculosis. Seeking a possible cure, she retreated into a seaside resort, a limited option available at the time. It was during her time there that she developed deep affections for her chaperone, Colonel Charles Fitzroy. In her heart, she did consider them to be essentially married, although she yearned for an official union in the future. Unfortunately, destiny had different plans, and at the young age of 27 in 1810, Amelia passed away, becoming the 3rd child and first daughter of the king and queen to meet such an untimely fate. Her father, already grappling with mental instability, was present at her deathbed, and her tragic loss may have further exacerbated his fragile mental state. Following her demise, the king often spoke of Amelia as if she was still alive, a poignant reminder of the lasting impact that she had on his troubled mind and heart.